Good evening with sports. I'm Anne-Marie Burke. The Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic are the new Coca-Cola Under-19 football champions. Early this evening, they defeated the Barbados Vocational Training Board in the final game at the Usain Bolt Complex, 4-3. Prior to that, the defending champion St. Leonard's hammered Graydon Sealy 6-0 in the third-place playoff. Sean Green reports.
This is the third-place playoff. Graydon Sealy in their all-green against last year's champion St. Leonard's boys, and it didn't take long for Neil Reedy Stevens to nail the back of the net in just the 7th minute to put SLB in front. 3 minutes later, Rashid Phillips joined the party, beating the poor keeper to make it 2-0. And before the custodian could recover from that shock, Darian Croney added to his pain, beating a weak defense and scoring in the 20th minute. Second half, and Phillips wasn't satisfied with that 3-0 cushion. He wanted more, and he got more, adding a fourth in the 63rd. And just seconds later, Tyrell Hines was in the keeper's face again. The hapless and helpless goalie didn't have a chance. Poor fellow. And just when you think that things couldn't get any worse, this happened. Phillips completing his hat-trick as St. Leonard's team rolled Graydon Sealy 6-0. Now to the big final featuring the Barbados Vocational Training Board in the yellow against the Polytechnic. Rashid Critchlow with a chance. Rashid Critchlow with a goal after just about 7 minutes. And after the Polytechnic had pulled that off, Trevor Aline was struck back for BVT in the 15th minute. A bad tackle in the area leaves the ref with no choice but to point to the spot after Kevin Ennis was brought down. Renico Marshall is the one to kick, and he does well. BVT back in the lead. But before the dust could settle on that, Damar Linton added another one for Polytechnic to equalize at 2 goals apiece. Second half action, and it didn't take long for Ennis to be in the action again. He makes it 3 to BVT. Polytechnic, though, didn't say die. They fought back and fought back well. Critchlow looking for a second, and he gets it. It's now all tied up at 3. And in fading light and time, Josiah Hines will do it for the Pine Institution with this golden goal. SJPP champions for 2016. Sean Green, Cbc Sports.
Bradford's Construction Crane Resort St. Catherine will remain as champions. This after the Complaints and Disputes Committee of the BCA dismissed the complaint made by the Spartan Club emanating from their 9th Series Elite game with Police at Weymouth. That game had ended in a no decision on November 20th because of the poor condition of the Weymouth outfield. The committee, which met on Tuesday, found no merit in the complaint and dismissed it. Had Spartan won that game over Police, they would have edged St. Catherine for the championship by just 1 point. 2017 will usher in improved methods of drug testing for athletes here in Barbados, as the National Anti-Doping Commission has taken the move to not only beef up training of their personnel, but also improve the way testing will be conducted.
We just trained a number of new doping control officers, so we have an increased number of doping control officers in Barbados and in the Caribbean. And we also trained for the first time blood collecting officers. So in 2017, we will see athletes being tested not only urine but also blood samples. We have phlebotomists who are specifically trained to do the samples, and we have worked out a way that we can get these samples to the lab within the prescribed time period before the deterioration of the samples. We have a transport medium that can do that, and therefore our athletes need to be aware of this. In addition to the testing, education is very important. So we're going to do a lot more education in the schools, in the clubs, in the national federations, and not only of the athletes but also of the athlete support personnel.
With Barbados and by extension the region producing relatively clean athletes over the past few years, Dr. Lord had this advice for the sportsmen and women.
Continue to train hard, eat properly, be careful with the use of even supplements, because some of these supplements may have substances that may be on the list and you might not recognize them. And be careful of the influence of your peers. A lot of our sports persons train and live overseas and will be subjected to the whims and fancies of coaches, management in order to perform. The athletes get a lot of pressure from the media, from the family, from society to do well. And some may then decide that in order to do well, they need to cheat. We have not had that type of athlete from Barbados, and we want our Barbadian athletes and our Caribbean athletes to continue to fight against doping in sport.
To the NBA, Kevin Love scored 29 points and LeBron James added 23 as the Cavaliers won their 5th straight game 103-86 over the Memphis Grizzlies last night.